Good afternoon, Syd Taylor. Welcome on VH Berries.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I am extremely grateful because the space between the letter D and C in the word landscape is nothing more than a subtle and quiet expression of your care towards isolation. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing so amazing. How are you?
I am doing very good, and the word isolation is perhaps the angular stone of your new musical adventure. As a solo artist, more connected to the waves of colors entering your room. And it all started on the last Wednesday of the past June, right after midnight.
Yes, yeah, it was really incredible. I worked so hard on this album. I'm so happy that it's out. So thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me.
Absolutely, Syd Taylor, and I would love to discuss about After the Fact, which is the name of your project. Can you tell us a little bit more about that album composed of a robust 12 tracks song track list spanning over 2,394 seconds?
Yes, it's a very, very long story how this album came about. Pretty much my whole life in the making, and I could not be more proud of myself for pushing to fully produce and write this album by myself. So it is truly a body of work that speaks to who I am as a person and as an artist and as a songwriter and now producer. So it's quite a beautiful thing, and I'm really, really happy that it's finally out.
This is a sort of relief for you, Syd Taylor, and that album came out after a 3 month period of intensive creation in isolation. Can you tell us a little bit more about that trimester, also known as the 90 Days Miracle?
That's quite right. I you have it right. I basically, long story short, which we'll get back around to, I left my band that I was in my whole life with my twin sister, and I decided that I wanted to write and produce a body of work by myself that didn't have any other people's hands on it, something that was fully mine, fully my opinion, and something that I could just write and not have to look back on and question. And so I locked myself in my apartment. Big thanks to my roommate at the time, who was always so sweet and supportive, even when I was making so much noise. But I poured my heart out, and I taught myself how to fully produce and finish a song, which is something that I had never done before. So once I got the first one done, the rest of it sort of just came together so quickly. And I know 3 months is a long time, but to me, it went by in 2 seconds. It just felt like I was always writing. I was always immersed in my work. I was always thinking about the next song and what I wanted it to say and how I wanted it to feel. I put on a lot of indie movies. I always love having inspiration sort of in the background of what I'm doing. I bought so many coffee table books because I love sifting through things and getting inspired by imagery. So I was using a lot of that. I was writing in my notebook. I wrote pretty much the whole album in my notebook, which is something I hadn't done since I was really a kid. And I started writing when I was a kid. So it was such a magical experience, and I'm so proud of myself for for pushing and convincing myself that I could do it, which I ended up doing it. So those 3 months were really some of the most beautiful months of my life. And it's really crazy. I'll never have an experience like that again. I learned so much. So I'm very lucky.
You learned so much, Syd Taylor, and if I understood correctly, that 90-day miracle happened in less than a few seconds, and during that time, you created the lead single called After the Fact, and I believe that this is a title showing your creative process, with your commitment to be an independent artist and doing everything yourself, including, for example, the editing and the coloring of that video clip with a particular orange tint and background.
Yes. I really, really, really wanted to play on this sort of Brit rock 60s vibe, because I feel like that embodies so much of the music that I love and sort of my style, especially these days. And I had so much fun learning how to edit and learning how to color. And honestly, it really came with playing around with it on my computer, because I would just mess with all of the different dials and try to figure out what the coloring was. And I started going with this really cool negative look, which it was kind of a happy accident, and I ended up keeping it, and it really matched the song super well. So I'm super happy that I kept it. But it was definitely a journey teaching myself how to edit and color, basically coming from knowing nothing. So yeah, it was really fun.
The color orange matched with that lead single called After the Fact. Can you tell us a little bit more about the story behind that summer song and the particular connection between that color and the story?
Yeah, so I wrote this song near the end of writing my album, and I just really felt like my album was missing something kind of swanky and fun and cool. And I have a bunch of those types of songs, but I was like, I need one more. And it was so fun writing it, because I came up with this sort of guitar part that goes now, 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 now. And I was like, I'm going to go off that. That sounds like the way to start the song. And so I kept it in. And I honestly just I went on the mic and I started singing and humming things and built my melodies, and then I placed the words to it, and it sort of became this song that I didn't know it was going to become, which was a song that embodies confidence and sexiness and empowerment and knowing what you want and knowing what you need and only getting what you want and need. And it really embodies what that album is about. So I was with my roommate one night, and I was sitting there with my album titles written down, and I was like naming them off, but nothing felt right. Nothing felt like it clicked. And then I started looking back at the songs that I had written, and after playing this song a few times live, I was like, I think this is the title of the album. I think I need to name it After the Fact, because this song just shows so much of who I am and who I've become and the confidence that I found while writing this album. And so I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to name it After the Fact. And my roommate was like, hell yeah. And so I announced it that night at my show, actually. I had a show at a little surf shop, and I was about to announce this song, and I stopped myself, and I was like, I really should tell everyone the name of the album, because if I don't say it now, I'm gonna rethink it and I'm gonna question it. And so I just said it out loud, and I said, this is the title track of my album. My album will be called After the Fact. And from that moment on, I couldn't go back, and the rest is history. And now After the Fact is out, and that's the album.
Absolutely, Syd Taylor. That's the album. And on one side, there is the color orange. But on another side, there is also a lot of room for the listener's imagination. Because my favorite track is the third one, called Heaven, in which you're asking and saying to someone, open the door, I could be your heaven. And it made me imagine that door entirely made of glass, showing that these two people are so close, yet so far apart.
Yeah, that one is a funny one, I'll tell you. I don't tell many people this. I feel like it's a lot of people in my personal life know this. But I haven't gone public with this. I wrote this song about my boyfriend, who at the time I was having so much trouble with because I was so frustrated because we've been together for so long and I wanted to move in and I was like, I've never lived with a boyfriend, but I know that this feels right. And why would you not want to live with me? I'm amazing. I was like, you should be so lucky to live with me and to be around my aura. I was so upset. I was like, how could someone not want to live with me? And it wasn't that he didn't want to live with me. It's that he didn't feel like the timing was right. But I got frustrated. And so I wrote a song about it. And that's how Heaven came about. And I wrote those lyrics. I said, you'll never find somebody like me. I'm the girl of your dreams. Open the door. I could be your heaven. Let me be your heaven. So I showed him the song and he said, is this about me? And I said, yeah, you know it is. And I think a few months later actually is when he came around. He was like, all right, let's move in together. And I think it was the power of the song. And now we're living together and it's great. And he knows that I'm his heaven. And yeah, I love that song because there was also a lot of power in that song. So if my boyfriend is watching right now, you know you're my heaven.
Absolutely, Syd Taylor. This is the power of manifestation. And this song led you to be a little bit out of breath, especially when you did the live from the Hollywood Hills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, funny enough, my boyfriend is also my drummer, so you'll see him in that video as well. And I think maybe I was a little nervous because the song was about him, and I'm singing it in front of him while he's playing in my band. So that was a really fun video to shoot.
These were some very fun video to shoot, Syd Taylor, and two elements that are promised to go to heaven are your pop filter and your Grey Shore KSM 44A multi-platform condenser microphone for how it defends your voice so well, like soldiers on the battlefield of frequencies.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. You did your research. You really did your research. Because, I mean, listen, this mic has really been through the ringer. It's a friend of mine loaned it to me, and I have kind of just stolen it ever since. This was like 4 years ago. He loaned me this mic. And I'm going to have to give it back at some point, but I think I might just buy him a brand new one because I've used this thing every single day for the last 4 years. And it's been my baby. I have fallen in love with it since I started using it. And I just really love the way my vocals sound in it. And now I'm using it for this conversation right now. So I will definitely be keeping this guy forever.
You will be keeping and kidnapping that microphone and never giving it back, because I feel that those two elements helped you to create that DIY style and fingerprint. Can you tell us a little bit more about that creative process in your home, especially during that isolation period?
Yeah, so my roommate wasn't home a lot. She was always staying at her mom's place, and I, at 3 a.m, would be up writing and playing on guitar and just fiddling around in my room and in the studio, and just like really trying to get whatever was going on in my mind out. And I was going through a really, really, really creative era. And I think sometimes it just hits you so hard with the creativity, and you're just in that mood. And I think it was a really, really beautiful time for me because I had so much to say. So I was constantly jotting things down in my notebook, and sometimes I would take a song or I would take a poem that I would write, and I would turn it into a song, and I would try to sing melodies just by looking at the pages and seeing what comes to my voice. And then I would take a guitar and I would try to figure out what chords would go well with what I was singing, and I would piece it together almost backwards. And other times I would pull up my computer and I would play on my keyboard, or I would bring my guitar in and I would start playing some really cool, funky chords and start writing on top of that. And the process was always so different for each song. I really wanted to experiment with how I was approaching my songwriting. And I learned so much from doing that. And I think moving forward, I don't have like a technique that is my go-to. I would say maybe singing on top of something and doing the melodies first and then piecing together the lyrics is something that I've done my whole life. And I did quite a bit of that for this album. But the way that I approached the initial first steps of writing each song was so different. And it came to me in so many different ways. And a lot of it was at 3 a.m. and when I was alone and my thoughts were racing, and I would get out my phone and I would sing into my voice notes. And sometimes it came from me being at a park and an idea coming to me, a musical idea, and I would have to rush home and record it. But yeah, I spent so much time in my apartment just getting to know my computer and learning how to get whatever was in my head down onto my recordings. So it was so chaotic and beautiful, kind of just like the album, to be honest. So yeah, it was a really, really beautiful process.
Furthermore, Syd Taylor, you had almost one different creative process for each of the 12 songs of After the Fact, and we might include an activity which is staring at your substantial art collection, including the Adam Greener unsuccessful homework assignment, as you own the 42 by 40 inches version with an espresso wood frame from Art Unified store.
My boyfriend would die to hear you saying this. He's gonna die when he sees this because it's his favorite piece of art. I can't claim it. But it's so funny that you clocked that. It's sitting over here to the right of me. You can't see it in frame right now, but it is such a fun piece. It's a fun conversation piece. Everyone always comes over and they're like, what is that? Like immediately they're like, what is that? And then they start reading it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. It's just like a really funny, good conversation piece. And my boyfriend is obsessed with it. We're not sure if we're going to hang it in the studio or not, because I feel like it's more of like a kitchen vibe, but we'll see. I don't know. We're still trying to redesign the studio right now, kind of slowly but surely. I got a really cool rug for the studio that's like, it's like one of those rugs that you could just like lay on and have your friends come in and listen to music, play some vinyl. And it's my favorite thing I've ever purchased for my home. And so I think this art piece really goes well with the rug. And I'm so happy you clocked that because my boyfriend's gonna love it. He's gonna die. But it's such a fun conversation piece. So we might hang it in here. We'll see.
Absolutely, Syd Taylor. And I could change the bottom line written on the bottom of that artwork that says, "Nobody impeaches the comeback kid."
Yeah.
2. No microphone can impeach the comeback stage next Wednesday at the Gold Diggers Bar on 5642 Santa Monica Boulevard in front of the golden yellow curtain.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a really fun show. I'm very excited. I ended up creating a lineup with some friends who are all so talented and so cool, and like I cannot wait for all of us to play together. But it's gonna be a really, really cool show. So all of the friends are gonna be there. We're gonna dance. We're gonna have so much fun. I've been going to Gold Diggers for so long, pretty much since I moved to LA 9 years ago. And it's one of those venues I haven't played yet that I'm really, really stoked to be playing.
Absolutely. Syd Taylor, you will be playing with other people that you publicly call your hot friends. And
Yeah.
that includes Skylar Capri, Karina Sofia, Amy Gaze, and Soviet Jesus Core.
Yep. All really hot and really talented.
Absolutely, Syd Taylor. You cannot wait to perform alongside those hot friends. And prior to that show, what is your favorite track? And the one closer to you that you cannot wait to sing in front of that audience?
Well, I do have a song that, fun story, I was thinking about taking off of the album, that I had a little listening party with my friends, and most of them said that was their least favorite song. And so I was kind of questioning it, thinking maybe I'll end up taking it off the album. And I went with my gut and I decided not to because I really loved the vibe of it. And I ended up releasing the album, and it was one of the most streamed songs off the album initially in the first 2 weeks. And it did so well. And without any playlisting, it was just algorithmic. People started loving it and listening and saving it to their playlists. And so I think it was a really fun comeback story. And I really love playing it live. I've only played it live once. So that's the one I'm probably most excited to play again. And I want to say right now, it's my favorite from the album.
Absolutely, Syd Taylor. And when I am listening to your voice, I can feel that you're fully ready because of the previous 12 plus live events that you did earlier this decade in Ferndale, Venice, Westwood, Salt Lake City, Denver, Tucson, San Diego, New York, and Los Angeles, with a talented artist called Emilia Page, that happens to be also your twin relatives.
Yep. We look nothing alike, and no one ever believes us We will go to a bar together and we will show the bouncer our IDs, and he'll look at them and he'll look at us and he'll think that it's fake because we have the same birthday, same last name. And so it does look like we have fake IDs, but we don't. We're twins. It's a real thing, and no one believes us. But we'd actually been in our band together since we were 8 years old. So we had been playing music together forever up until last year. And she's so beautiful and so talented, and she's absolutely killing it in life right now. And the best thing that could have happened for us was to go our separate ways and be our own people. And like, it's such a beautiful thing because now we're sisters, and we're just sisters, and we're not coworkers, and we don't feel like we have so much pressure on us as siblings. And so it's a really beautiful thing. And it was such a beautiful time to be able to tour with her and play with her and write with her. And moving forward in life, it's like we have beautiful memories to look back on, but we're creating so many more beautiful ones moving forward that really just have to do with us being sisters. And it's really, really amazing. So yeah, it's cool that you saw that we went to all those cool places together.
Absolutely, Syd Taylor, and that band was called Stereo Jane. And the album that you just released, called After the Fact, is finalizing your departure from this lifelong collaboration, escaping all the parallels and comparison attempts to find your own voice, and also removing the need to share all the social media passwords.
You're not wrong about that one. We had been doing this for so long with so many people since we were so young. And I think because we were always grouped together and we were always working with new songwriters and producers and managers and labels, there were so many people who had an opinion about who we should be and what we should be and how we should dress and what type of music we should write. And I think it was really difficult for us to figure out who we were as a band because we didn't even know who we were as people. And I think that we were always chasing something that wasn't us. And I was always chasing something that was more like my sister. And I think she did the same thing with me. It was just, we wanted to be alike because that's what everyone said we should be. And I think we butt heads a lot. And it wasn't healthy for us as sisters, as people, as artists. And, you know, we both knew that it was time for us to leave the band and follow our own paths. And it was the best thing that could have happened to her and the best thing that could have happened for me as a person and as an artist, because I really discovered my voice and I figured out who I am and what I want to say and how I want my music to sound. I dress so differently now because I actually have a chance to just be me and not have to approve it through other people or try to match someone else who I'm not similar to, and for all in a good way. I mean, she's amazing. She has her own style and it's so cool and it's so her, but I'm also not her, you know, I'm me. So I think that it's really cool to see us becoming our own people and yeah, I couldn't be happier, and neither could she.
It was Syd Taylor, a necessary step. And what would you say were the best memories from Stereo Jane, from releasing multiple EPs to, for example, making an original song for a feature film called Love Me Tender, based on an Elvis Presley song from 1958.
Yeah, I would say that was one of the coolest things that we got to do. We did this really cool cover of Love Me Tender, and we made it super 60s, like Brit rock kind of vibes. And it was something really inspiring to me, even writing my new album. I look back on that and I am always showing that song to people. I actually added it to a playlist of my song inspirations for my album. And it was so cool going to the movies and seeing that as the final girl song. And it's just so badass. I really, really love that we were able to do that. I always talk about that. And that's one of my favorite things that we ever did. And I think both of us, like, we listen to that and we rock out to it all the time. It was really cool. But yeah, I think moving out to LA was one of the coolest things we also did as sisters and as a band, because it was kind of like this dreamland that we had always wanted to be living in. And to me, it still is to this day. I think a lot of people come to LA and they get kind of scared off because it's still real life, you know, it's life is hard. And I think a lot of people come out here with a dream and they think that it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but it's hard work out here. But we're surrounded by so many amazing, talented, creative people with like the coolest minds. And I love it out here. And I'm really happy that the two of us are out here where we really feel like we have a place and we feel like we belong. And so honestly, the entire journey has been so cool. We've done so many cool things with the band. And I think moving to LA was probably the coolest. I think that this is where we found ourselves. So I don't think we'll be leaving for a while.
Absolutely, Syd Taylor doing Love Me Tender as well as relocating in California are now the highlight of Stereo Jane. And the band was formed when you were 8 years old, which is exactly 24 months after you learned the guitar.
Yeah, we grew up listening to music, and our dad was in a bar band, actually. So we were warming up for him in bars when we were 8 years old, because that's just what you did. We just come from such a musical family and a very supportive family. Our dad was so supportive. Our mom was so supportive. And our dad was our manager. He pushed us so hard to pursue our dreams because it was something that he always wanted for himself. He loves music, and you know, he at a certain point decided, I'm going to leave my band and I'm going to focus on my kids, and I want them to have what I've always dreamed of. And you know, we had the same dream, and I am really glad that he pushed me in ways that most parents wouldn't. A lot of parents would see that their kid wants to do something that crazy and they would say, no, you're going to college and you're getting a normal job and you're going to live a safe and financially stable life. And my dad said, nope, you're going to live a really crazy creative life and you're going to chase your dreams. And that's something that I've been doing since I moved out here, and since I was a kid, really. And I'm going to continue to do that until the day I die. And I would not rather have life any other way. I don't have any regrets in life. So yeah, you get some backstory on that.
There is no time for regrets, Syd Taylor. And can you tell us a little bit more about growing up in Detroit as a devoted Michigander, starting on stage with polka dots and fake tattoos, always in motion, on both sides of the Ambassador Bridge and Gordie Howe International Bridge.
How do you know about that? Oh my gosh. You really did your research. You went way back. We've had some crazy shows starting from when we were kids. And, that was a really, really cool moment to meet him. And we were with our mom at the time and she was like, do you know who that is? And I was like, no, cause I was a kid and I didn't know anything and I was a child. And she was like, yeah, when you grow up, you'll see how cool that is. So yeah, she was right. But yeah, we had some really cool moments. We warmed up for the Four Tops in Detroit. at DTE in Detroit, which was the coolest thing ever for a kid to do. And we were so young. We were infants. And we have some video from that. That's really, really cool. That is a sick thing to be able to look back on. And yeah, it's all we know is performing and being in that type of environment. And it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Performing is all you know, Syd Taylor. And what would you say are going, for example, to be your upcoming goals for the remaining of the year and the following one?
Yeah, I mean, I want to write a lot more. I am going to write another album at some point very soon. And I'm going to continue to play this album and to get as many people to hear it as possible. I am dying to go on tour. I feel like I belong on a tour bus. I really I belong on the road. I belong on a stage. And that's something that I will never give up on. And I am really hoping to go on tour in the fall. And the rest of the summer, I'm going to keep playing my shows. I'm going to keep promoting my album and making new videos and content and doing new photo shoots and just staying creative because I think that's so important. And I'm really excited for the future. I just feel like I have so much hope and so much optimism right now, and I'm feeling really grateful. And I feel like my vision is so clear for the first time in a long time. So I'm feeling really amazing. And yeah, I couldn't be more excited.
Your vision is clear. And in conclusion, I am looking forward to hear your upcoming projects as well as to dial the number 12 when I am asked how many of the 12 songs of After the Fact deserve to enter history. Thank you very much, Syd Taylor, the Rocker Kid.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. You were so sweet, and this was so fun getting to chat with you.